The exploration of Mars has long captivated the imagination of scientists and space enthusiasts alike, with each new discovery shedding light on the planet's mysterious past and potential for extraterrestrial life. Among the many intriguing findings from Mars exploration missions, one particular image captured by NASA's Curiosity rover has sparked widespread interest and speculation: the apparent sighting of what looks like an ammonite in one of its photographs. The image in question was taken by Curiosity's Mastcam camera and subsequently shared with the public by NASA. In the photograph, a small coiled object resembling the fossilized shell of an ancient marine organism can be seen partially buried in the Martian rock. The object's spiral shape and segmented chambers bear a striking resemblance to the shells of terrestrial ammonites, extinct relatives of modern-day cephalopods such as squid and nautilus. The discovery of a potential ammonite fossil on Mars raises a host of tantalizing questions about the planet's past and its potential for harboring life. Ammonites were prolific inhabitants of Earth's oceans for hundreds of millions of years, from the Devonian period to the end of the Cretaceous period, and their fossils are commonly found in sedimentary rocks around the world. The presence of an apparent ammonite fossil on Mars suggests that the planet may have and potentially hospitable conditions for life. However, the interpretation of the object in the photograph as an actual fossil remains a subject of debate. While some have pointed to its resemblance to terrestrial ammonites and the possibility of ancient Martian oceans, others have offered alternative explanations for its appearance. One possibility is that the object is a naturally occurring rock formation that has been eroded or weathered into a spiral. Another possibility is that it is a concretion, a type of mineral deposit that can form in sedimentary rocks through the precipitation of minerals around a nucleus. Despite these alternative explanations, the discovery of the potential ammonite fossil highlights the importance of continued exploration and investigation of Mars' geological history. Over the past decade, robotic rovers and orbiters have provided unprecedented insights into the planet's past environment, revealing evidence of ancient riverbeds, lake beds, and even possible hot springs. These findings suggest that Mars was once a much warmer and wetter planet than it is today, with conditions that may have been conducive to the emergence and evolution of life. In addition to its potential implications for Mars' past habitability, the discovery of a possible ammonite fossil also underscores the broader significance of astrobiology and the search for life beyond Earth. The exploration of Mars and other planetary bodies in our solar system offers a unique opportunity to study the processes that shape planetary evolution and the conditions necessary for life to arise and thrive. By studying the geology, chemistry, and biology of Mars, scientists hope to gain a better understanding of the potential for life elsewhere in the universe and our place within it. Evidence of water on Mars. The idea of water on Mars has been present in science for many years. It is now well known that Mars is considered a mostly dry planet, with limited evidence of moisture. However, new information shows that ancient waters once flowed over the surface of the red planet. As we mentioned earlier, the presence of the blubris also lends itself to the idea that running water was present on Mars. The first major hint suggesting that Mars was covered in water is through the craters formed on the face of the planet. Scientists from the Netherlands assert that the only thing capable of forming the kind of massive craters discovered would have been large amounts of water, specifically water that was deep and remained in one place for a long time. Alongside these craters are various channels formed in the surface of Mars, which suggests that running water existed and created these pathways. These channels are indented, which tells us that this running water existed for a long period of time. This confirms that once Mars was home to many lakes, rivers, and perhaps also larger bodies of water like oceans. The soil found on Mars has been found to have hydrogen in it. This has been attributed to the presence of water molecules in the soil as well. This could indicate that water may still exist beneath the surface of Mars. NASA has found rocks that look like concrete slabs built from this soil. The rock has eroded on one side. The other is completely smooth. Scientists affirm that water, specifically running water, is responsible. Another important piece of evidence that Mars contained water is the ice now present. Various rovers have discovered ice and glaciers. The temperatures on Mars now are far too low to support liquid water. There are also minerals and rocks that have formed under the ice that imply that liquid water was once part of the red planet. In 2018, a subglacial lake was discovered. It extends about 20 kilometers, and it is considered to be the first known stable body of liquid water on Mars. This provides important insight into what Mars once was, and it also allows scientists to better assess whether Mars could or ever did support life. Throughout these studies, scientists are very positive that running water once existed on Mars in high volumes. The Curiosity rover was sent to Mars to discover whether flowing water ever existed on the planet, and it seems that this has been confirmed. This shapes everything we know and continue to learn about Mars as we discover what life may have looked like when water was running on this planet. While some scientists believe that the running water only existed for a short amount of time on Mars, it seems that the combination of studies and evidence suggests that it existed much longer than previously believed. This suggests that there may have been enough water present for a long enough period of time that Mars could have been considered habitable. The evidence of running water opens new questions about whether there was plant or animal life once on Mars and how long ago this may have been. Scientists argue that the evidence of water on Mars is the first true evidence of a possible habitable environment. Water is essential to all life as we know it, so the idea that Mars once contained this necessity for life is incredible. Universe is a false vacuum. There are a few ways that physicists have toyed with when it comes to theorizing about the destruction of the universe, and they generally have ominous names: the Big Rip, the Heat Death, and the Big Crunch. One particularly interesting hypothetical destruction is vacuum decay. Before diving into understanding vacuum decay, we need to backtrack and talk about Higgs field. Higgs field is a field of energy that permeates our universe. Similar to an electric field, Higgs field varies in strength. The power of Higgs field in any particular area is dependent on its potential. Another part of this operation is Higgs boson. Higgs boson is the foundational particle connected with Higgs field. It was proposed by Peter Higgs, François Eglert, and 4 other theorists in 1964, and confirmed in 2012, resulting in a Nobel Prize for the scientists. The potential of Higgs field tells us whether the universe is in a state of true vacuum or false vacuum. A vacuum is a space entirely lacking in matter. It is also the stable lowest energy state. Currently, the universe is in a false vacuum state called metastable. It's not actively decaying, but it is also not completely stable. Two glaring issues to consider when living in a metastable universe are that a high enough energy event can in theory take a small region of the universe from the false vacuum into the true vacuum. This would create a domino effect of a true vacuum that would expand in all directions at the speed of light. Such an event would be lethal. The second issue is that the tiny particle can create a passage through a boundary between one region and another, through to the vacuum state. So a universe in a metastable false vacuum has the potential to suddenly be partly in a true vacuum state, which would be detrimental. The possibility of vacuum decay has been weighing on the mind of researchers recently because the measurements of Higgs boson seem to indicate that the vacuum is now metastable. This might seem like a reason to feel alarmed and move into a state of existential dread. However, the life of a metastable universe is predicted to be substantially longer than the life of the current universe. Starless exoplanets may orbit black holes. Exoplanets are, put simply, just planets that don't orbit our sun. Recent studies have found, though, that some exoplanets, rather than orbit a star, are orbiting supermassive black holes. This is also thought to be quite common across the universe, as evidence suggests that at the center of a galaxy, the supermassive black hole can pull planets into its orbit. What's more is that it doesn't stop there, that these planets can also be formed around these black holes. Whilst it's true that black holes are never ending in the pursuit to consume everything around it, they can also form a ring around themselves. These rings are made of various gases and dust but form anywhere up to 30 light-years away from the supermassive black hole itself. It is theorized that planets can be formed when a star forms. The cloud of gas and dust from around the star collapses and forms disks. These disks are then pulled together and merged by gravity. As you can probably put together, this new research suggests that the clouds formed around a supermassive black hole can create these disks and potentially in turn planets. These planets created around the black holes would be around 10 times the mass of the Earth and could be giant ice or rock planets. Also, because these planets would be formed light years away from the black hole, that there wouldn't be any strange happenings on these planets caused by the extreme gravity from the black hole. The scientists carrying out this research at the University of Kagoshima in Japan also estimate that tens of thousands of these planets could be orbiting the supermassive black holes in the centers of galaxies, and even go as far as to say this could be happening in our own galaxy too. Potential third planet discovered orbiting Proxima Centauri. Although we have not yet discovered extraterrestrial life in our solar system, that does not mean that we are totally without neighbors. In fact, it is the very study of these easily visible nearby neighbors that has allowed us to learn so much about the endless stretch of space that surrounds us. Recently, a surprising discovery was made about the star closest to our Sun, Proxima Centauri, which is the smallest member of the Alpha Centauri system of the Centaurus constellation and is located just over 4 light-years away. Findings published in the Astronomy and Astrophysics Journal detailed how a team of astronomers analyzing observations made by the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope in Chile located another planet orbiting the nearby star, which makes it the third planet in this small neighboring system. It seems that the study of this strange new little planet, dubbed Proxima d, could tell researchers much about elements of our solar system that were previously unknown. Firstly, it orbits incredibly close to Proxima Centauri. For reference, Mercury orbits our own Sun at a distance of 10 times that of Proxima D's orbit of Proxima Centauri. One lap around its host star takes just 5 days, and Proxima C take 11 days and a whopping 5 years respectively. Additionally, with a mass barely a quarter of Earth's, it is one of the lightest exoplanets that has been discovered so far. Due to the closeness and variability of this neighboring system, scientists are keen to learn its secrets. However, knowledge of the Proxima Centauri system is actually rather slim, as Proxima b was not confirmed as a planet until 2020. In fact, it was the study of this planet using the ESCAL spectrograph for rocky exoplanets and stable spectroscopic observations, or ESPRESSO, instrument on the ESO's Very Large Telescope that led to the discovery of Proxima d as mere hints of a corresponding signal surrounding this new planet. After specific ESPRESSO measurements were conducted dedicated exclusively to the potential Proxima d, it was confirmed that the system indeed hosted a third, albeit very small, planet. This achievement is extremely important. Dr. Pedro Figueira, an astronomer with the ESO and a member of the ESPRESSO team. It shows that the radial velocity technique has the potential to unveil a population of light planets, like our own, that are expected to be the most abundant in our galaxy and that can potentially host life as we know it. This result clearly shows what ESPRESSO is capable of and makes me wonder about what it will be able to find in the future. NASA can't explain strange spiral in space. In 2006, scientists finally uncovered the true nature of star AFGL 3068, a first-of-its-kind spiral object 3,000 light-years away in the constellation Pegasus. Before this discovery, scientists knew the star existed, but the object was too faint for scientists to determine exactly what the spot was. With the ultra-sensitive advanced camera for surveys on the Hubble Space Telescope did scientists begin to really see the spirals come into view. Scientists found that the entity consisted of large, perfectly placed coils of dust floating out in the universe. Before AFGL 3068, the only spirals found in space were known as spiral galaxies. This star is nothing like a spiral galaxy. First of all, it is not a galaxy at all. Instead, it is a galaxy of stars. It is made up of a binary star system that includes 2 stars orbiting around each other. The first star is a red giant carbon star, and the second is a blue-white star that exists 103 astronomical units away from the red giant. 103 astronomical units are approximately 2 times the distance between the Sun and Pluto. Since the 2 stars are so far from one another, they take approximately 800 years to orbit around each other. So how are the spirals created? In the most basic sense, the red giant releases carbon material. This material then combines to form larger molecules which create fine black dust. This dust covers the red giant and blocks all or most of its light. The blue-white star's gravitational pull tugs the dust toward itself and away from the red giant. But most of the dust ends up escaping into space during the process. As the 2 binary stars circle each other, the black dust escapes outward to form a spiral. After determining how the spirals were created, scientists wondered how the system was being illuminated. The dust being dispelled is dark and has no illumination qualities of its own, yet it could still be seen. The star could not have illuminated the spirals because it was also covered in the black dust. So scientists determined that the spirals were being illuminated by our own galaxy, the Milky Way. Interestingly, this is the only celestial body that is not illuminated by sunlight, starlight, or fluorescence that has been photographed. While these phenomena might occur similarly in other systems, they were not officially discovered before AFGL 3068. This is because these phenomena can be difficult to find. First, the red giant is consistently losing significant amounts of mass in the form of black dust. That level of mass loss can only be temporary, and scientists must be in the right place at the right time. Second, the giant would have to be part of a binary system, orbiting around another star big enough to have a large enough gravitational pull to draw in the black dust. This fantastic new discovery could help scientists and astronomers solve the many mysteries in other systems that were unsolvable before the discovery on AFGL 3068. Mysterious object on Saturn's moons. One of the things that is usually certain about the lifeless planets orbiting the Sun is the fact that things rarely change. Scientists, looking at two satellite images of the same location on a distant planet, taken sometimes years apart, might find themselves playing the world's hardest game of spot the difference. However, an image taken of a lake on one of Saturn's moons caused researchers to do a double take. As a strange formation had emerged, and in an even stranger turn of events, the formation disappeared just as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving scientists with little clue as to what it could be, where it had come from, and where it might have gone. The image was taken by NASA's Cassini probe as it circled around Titan, Saturn's largest moon, and one of the most varied landscapes of the solar system besides our own planet Earth. Larger than Mercury and over 1 billion kilometers from Earth, Titan is the only moon in our solar system with an atmosphere composition similar to Earth's, but with a much higher surface pressure. It is also the only place in the entire solar system other than Earth that has liquids, as its surface is made up of liquid hydrocarbons flowing in rivers, lakes, and oceans that can reach hundreds of kilometers across and hundreds of meters deep next to rolling dunes and mountains. It was in one of these lakes that the white blob appeared in the northern hemisphere of Titan. The lake in question is called Ligeia Mare and is estimated to be over 150 meters deep, with the strange formation measuring around 19 kilometers wide and 9 kilometers deep and materializing about 10 kilometers off the shore. Interestingly, the mysterious figure was absent in satellite images taken just 16 days after the initial photo. Although Titan's lakes are generally totally smooth due to the lack of wind in its atmosphere, it is thought that the formation could be initial deep sea waves as Titan's northern hemisphere begins to slowly rotate closer to the Sun. Other theories include floating icebergs, a rush of bubbles or matter being released from deep within the stagnant sea, or something suspended in the liquid below the surface. However, as the formation was absent from subsequent photos taken of the location, scientists are forced to theorize based on just one image, meaning that unless it mysteriously reappears again, we may likely never know exactly what it was that was changing on such a static planet. What made the discovery so interesting is that planetary scientists believe that if there truly is life somewhere outside of Earth's atmosphere, then they will find it lurking deep in the lakes, rivers, and oceans of Titan. Because of the interesting composition of Titan, there is a possibility that any existing life on the surface of this moon could be very chemically different from life on Earth. So scientists study any changes or outlying formations on the surface of Titan very closely. Although this discovery left us with more questions than answers, perhaps it is the next step in discovering life outside of our Earth. Amateur astronomer discovers a tiny moon around Jupiter. We often hear the advice given to us growing up to making money doing something you love, or sometimes to try and keep work and hobbies distinct from one another. Whichever side of this debate you fall on, amateur astronomer Kylie has proved that you do not need to be a professional to make great progress and significant achievements in a field. In 2020, Chile successfully located 4 Jupiter moons that had been considered lost after their predicted patterns of movement seemingly changed. Lee replot their predicted trajectories and accurately highlighted which moons these were from telescope images that were publicly available. Following this feat, Lee has managed to discover and locate a previously unknown moon orbiting Jupiter. Kylie posted on June 30th in an online community for the world's leading amateur astronomers the Minor Planet mailing list commenting, "I'm proud to say that this is the first planetary moon discovered by an amateur astronomer. Using old telescope images from 2003, Lee spotted the small moon orbiting Jupiter, 385 million miles away from Earth. Jupiter has a total of 79 moons. And now, thanks to Lee, that's 80. And this unnamed satellite could be one of just many more moons we are yet to discover within our very own solar system. Some of these Jovian moons are so small that they can be seen by a large telescope for only 1 month in a year. Jeff Hecht from Sky and Telescope reports that Lee made the discovery using images taken back in 2003 by the Canada-France-Hawaii telescope. This is the same dataset from which they were able to pinpoint the lost Jovian moons in 2020. Both the new moon and the lost moons were discovered within the Karma cluster, a group of 22 rocks with orbits fairly similar to one another in space. Many NASA scientists have predicted that Kame, the largest of these satellites, was once an asteroid that has broken into smaller pieces, giving each part a similar orbit, with an average radius of 14 miles. After Lee had made the initial observation, they calculated the 22 days arc the moon follows by using data available from the Subaru telescope, which confirmed that the previously unseen object was indeed a moon orbiting Jupiter. Lee has elaborated on their work, explaining that they made 76 observations which covered a total of 15.26 years, meaning the orbit is mapped out and secured for decades. They stated 0061 equals S/2003J24. Other amateur astronomers have congratulated Kylie, explaining to those who are uninformed about the hours of work required to search through the incredible amounts of data. Lee has described their search for Jupiter's moons as a summer hobby before a return to school. This is an impressive feat and an incredible discovery made without advanced equipment, but rather the data that is available to the public. Mars is humming. The InSight rover landed on Mars in November 2018, landing near the equator of the Red Planet. NASA's robot has been measuring the planet's seismic activity and conducting tests on its geographic qualities. Its mission is to understand and learn about the geology of rocky planets, to observe their evolution and gain some more understanding about Earth's history and potential future. Scientists cannot get enough data on rocky planets just from Earth. They need to gather information from others. InSight landed in the Elysium Planitia, a small crater located on a volcanic plain. This location is often caught in wind and dust storms. The data it has gathered so far suggests that the seismic activity and magnetic field on Mars are much stronger than the researchers estimated, about 10 times more. While collecting data, the rover recorded a strange humming sound that researchers and experts have not been able to concretely identify the cause of. They have their speculations, though, and suggest it is caused by both seismic movement below the surface as well as the wind above it. When combined together, these two forces create a strange sound. The hum actually cannot be heard by humans. It falls outside our frequency range but gets picked up on readings by the robot. And it's machines. So any future human visitors will not be able to hear Mars humming. The researchers are excited at finding so many similarities between Mars and Earth. The infrasound, sound we can't hear, and the atmospheric turbulence are encouraging to their studies on finding out Mars' history and seeing what its timeline looks like compared to ours. Interestingly enough, Earth also has a faint infrasound humming to it. There have been reports of a hum that have been a hot debate for many years, even outside the astronomy community. Scientists can't really explain it, but many people try to blame it for certain diseases and health issues. There have been many locations across Earth that have complained of some sort of noise pollution and mysterious humming sounds. Now, InSight has identified a similar one on Mars. The robot was using a seismometer to measure the quakes underneath the planet. Since its first reading, it has measured over 400 quakes. It even managed to find fault lines on Mars, which confirms the constant seismic activity found. A few of the quakes have registered at 3 to 4 magnitudes, but most of them were so small that the machines and scientists were unable to detect their origin. Researchers also found that there are more quakes on Mars when the planet gets cold. When it cools down, it contracts, which forces the brittle layers near the surface to break in a way to accommodate their positioning. This breaking is causing stress on the surface that results in quakes. There are still many mysteries that the InSight researchers are excited about delving into, like how they recorded some type of activity at Mars depth. They believe there might even be hot magma still at its core. They will continue to measure the activity and gather as much knowledge about Mars history as possible. At present, researchers are constrained to rely on these intriguing but limited insights into the characteristics that lie in store on the external facade. In a fresh depiction, a majestic pyramid-like summit looms over a comparably level expanse, creating a striking contrast in elevation across the scene. The uniqueness of the mountain sets it apart in a distinctive manner, exhibiting characteristics that are uncommon in the nearby vicinity and scarce across the entirety of the dwarf planet. This mountain stands out not only for its physical features, but also for its geological and topographical attributes. The framework is believed to ascend approximately 3 miles. This comparison serves to illustrate the considerable elevation of the structure. The next image provides a more intricate depiction of the bright spots. Numerous smaller bright spots are visible surrounding the main prominent area, which is roughly calculated to span 6 miles in width. This closer examination offers a deeper insight into the distribution and characteristics of these luminous features. Ice and salt are the primary hypotheses that researchers have put forward to explain the peculiar reflectivity observed in this context. Dr. Mark Raymond, the mission director and chief engineer of Dawn, expressed his enthusiasm at the sight of these features becoming more distinct. Upon embarking on its observation of a distant location a few months back, Dawn was initially dubbed as a singular bright spot. However, with the explorer's gradual approach and improved vantage points, it became apparent that there were actually 2 distinct bright spots present. This discovery underscores the intricate nature of the celestial body that Dawn is investigating, shedding light on the complexities and nuances that exist within this captivating environment. In the current observation, it is apparent that the phenomenon under scrutiny is multifaceted and complex. The exact reason behind the occurrence of these intense reflections remains unclear, indicating the necessity for further data collection and analysis to shed light on the situation. In the realm of theories, each individual harbors their distinct personal favorite, yet nature stands as the ultimate judge. While we may all indulge in speculation and present compelling arguments, the unequivocal truth will inevitably reveal itself in due time. The diversity of perspectives and opinions among individuals is a testament to the intricate tapestry of thoughts that exists within society. In an in-depth analysis, the probable explanation points towards the residuals resulting from the sublimated ice. The residual salts that remain after this process might be the causative factor for the observed light reflection. The additional visual representations provide a glimpse into the extensive array of craters and intricate lines that adorn the terrain of this celestial body, situated within the asteroid belt, the orbits between Mars and Jupiter. There are indications of previous events occurring on the surface, such as movements, soil shifts, and the deterioration of natural formations. Ceres, the largest object in the asteroid belt, was initially classified as a planet. Ceres was later reclassified as an asteroid and finally designated as a dwarf planet by the International Astronomical Union in 2006 alongside Pluto and other celestial bodies that share similar characteristics. Despite its diminutive size, Ceres is approximately 940 kilometers or 585 miles in diameter, making it smaller than Earth's moon. This dwarf planet boasts a wealth of geological features that rival those of larger worlds. Its surface is marked by impact craters, mountain ranges, mysterious bright spots that hint at geological activity beneath its icy crust. One of the most prominent features of Ceres is a large crater named Ocator, which is home to a series of bright, reflective deposits that scientists believe may be composed of salts left behind by sublimating water ice. The presence of water ice on Ceres has profound implications for our understanding of the dwarf planet's history and potential habitability. Water is a key ingredient for life as we know it, and its presence on Ceres suggests that the dwarf planet may have once harbored conditions conducive to the emergence of life. Moreover, recent observations by NASA's Dawn spacecraft have revealed evidence of organic molecules on Ceres, further bolstering the case for its astrobiological potential. In addition to its geological features, Ceres also possesses a tenuous atmosphere composed primarily of water vapor, which is continually replenished by sublimation from its icy surface. This thin atmosphere, while far less substantial than those of Earth or Mars, plays a crucial role in shaping the dwarf planet's surface and regulating its climate. Understanding the dynamics of Ceres' atmosphere is essential for unraveling the mysteries of its geology and assessing its potential as a destination for future exploration and colonization. The exploration of Ceres has been facilitated by NASA's Dawn spacecraft, which arrived at the dwarf planet in March 2015, after a journey of more than 7 years. Over the course of its mission, Dawn has provided unprecedented insights into the geological and chemical composition of Ceres, mapping its surface in exquisite detail and capturing stunning images of its diverse terrain. Among Dawn's most significant discoveries is the presence of bright, salty deposits in Okata crater, which scientists believe may be evidence of a subsurface reservoir of briny water. Astrophysicist discovers numerous multiple star systems with exoplanets. The search for life outside of Earth is so relentless because there are so many possibilities beyond our own solar system. In fact, there are thousands of other stars besides our Sun with planets in orbit around it, including more than 4,000 exoplanets. This number greatly increases the odds of finding extraterrestrial life, and it seems that the number of exoplanets is only growing. Dr. Marcus Mugerauer, an astrophysicist with Friedrich Schiller University Jena, has recently discovered and characterized several previously unknown star systems containing exoplanets, and his published study has sent waves through the astronomical community. To obtain these results, Mugerauer searched through 1,300 host star systems in the search for hidden companion stars associated with the host star. He explained his process by saying, "Multiple star systems are very common in our Milky Way. If such systems include planets, they are of particular interest to astrophysics, because the planetary systems in them can differ from our solar system in fundamental ways." Essentially, McGraw was searching for the vicinity of thousands of already known host stars in the hopes that they would have an associated companion star that also had orbiting exoplanets. He used the Gaia Space Telescope operated by the European Space Agency in his search, which ultimately turned up fascinating results due to the precise data that he was able to collect. McGraw's search revealed the previously hidden existence of over 200 companion stars. The data that he collected allowed him to precisely categorize these new discoveries, which spanned a wide variety as to type and distance. Most of the companion stars varied considerably in their mass, temperature, and evolutionary stage, and some were located up to 1,600 light-years away from the Sun. The team also discovered that, although most of the study's star systems with associated exoplanets were two-star systems, there were a significant amount that were arranged in a hierarchical triple-star system, and even one that appeared to be a quadruple star system. The distance that these companion stars are from each other was also heavily studied, as they could tell us information about how planets are formed under different gravitational influences. They discovered that, of the distances investigated, 15% of stars have at least one companion star, which is a much lower frequency than expected. These companion stars are also up to 5 times further apart than normal systems. McGraw says, these two factors taken together could indicate that the influence of several stars in a star system disrupts the process of planet formation, as well as the further development of their orbits. In addition, we will combine the results with those of an international observational campaign, which we are currently conducting on the same topic at the Perennial Observatory of the European Southern Observatory in Chile. We will then be able to investigate the precise influence of stellar multiplicity on the formation and development of planets. One thing is for sure, this astonishing discovery is sure to lead to even more discoveries about the universe in the very near future. 13.5 billion-year-old star. A new discovery has given scientists a reason to rethink what they thought they knew about our galaxy. The discovery in question is a star called 2-mass J180820025104378b. Is believed to be around 13.5 billion years old. If this is the case, the star would have been born only slightly after the Big Bang. Surprisingly, the star is also relatively close to us. This new discovery has made scientists wonder if the galaxy is perhaps older than they previously thought. According to the study's lead author and Johns Hopkins University astronomer Kevin Schlafman, this star is maybe 1 in 10 million. It tells us something very important about the first generation of stars. There are other surprising things about this star besides its very existence. The star is quite small, as it is just 14% of our Sun's mass. For a long time, researchers assumed that small stars would not have formed during the beginning of the universe. They also believed they would be impossible to observe because they would have faded out by now. As time passed, simulations pointed to the possibility of old low-mass stars, which are only a fraction of the size of our Sun, are believed to be able to live for trillions of years. Additionally, while most metal-poor stars orbit away from the galactic plane in the Milky Way, this star remains in the plane along with our Sun. Scientists have always been fascinated by stars that are short of metal because they are thought to have formed shortly after the Big Bang, just like this newly discovered star. While scientists have only found a handful of very old stars, they hope this finding begins an era of more discoveries. According to Schlafman, if our inference is correct, then low-mass stars that have a composition exclusively the outcome of the Big Bang can exist. Even though we have not yet found an object like that in our galaxy, it can exist. As scientists gather more data and discoveries, we hope to learn more about the origin of life. Solar tornadoes captured on the Sun's surface. Since the Sun is so incredibly important to life on Earth, it is under constant surveillance by scientists, and because of this, you might think that surprising occurrences would be rare. But the invisible magnetic field that bends the charged gas and plasma around the Sun has revealed some strange phenomenon. The Solar Dynamics Observatory, or SDO, is run by NASA and is used to capture high-definition images of the Sun from space. The surface of the Sun is always bending and twisting from the magnetic energy generated on its surface, but recently scientists have noticed an odd phenomenon that appears to be a gigantic solar tornado rotating across the surface. The plasma, which usually flares and spits from the surface with no apparent pattern, was rotating and spinning in a manner that greatly resembles how the debris and trash swells in a tornado. This supports the theory that the field around the Sun generates solar weather by creating unevenly heated and charged particles that cause currents and other examples of atmospheric variability. These solar tornadoes are not common, only a few a year are recorded, but when they do occur, they are impressive to behold. In 2015, a gigantic plume of swirling superheated plasma raged across the surface of the Sun for 40 hours, and every minute of it was recorded and analyzed by the Solar Dynamics Observatory spacecraft technology. The temperature of the ultraviolet plasma peaked at over 2.8 million degrees Celsius. In 2014, one of these mammoth solar tornadoes spun so violently, it spun off the surface of the Sun and dissipated into space. One of the largest recorded solar tornadoes was documented in 2011 by the Solar Dynamics Observatory to be about 5 times the size of the Earth and spinning at a rate of 186,000 miles per hour. The solar flares traveled in a twisting, spiraling pattern up off the surface of the Sun to about 200,000 kilometers into the solar atmosphere. Analysis of solar tornadoes is important because they are driven by the powerful magnetic fields of the Sun and usually occur at the same time as massive blasts of solar plasma called coronal mass ejections. It isn't known whether solar tornadoes trigger coronal mass ejections, only that they generally occur in conjunction with each other. But studying the solar tornadoes could likely give us a better understanding of the coronal mass ejections, which are known to disrupt our lives on planet Earth. By interfering with GPS signals, radio communications, and power grids. The Solar Dynamics Observatory is part of a highly funded NASA initiative called Living with a Star that seeks to gain a greater understanding of our Sun and the effects of solar variability and weather patterns on our planetary life through the study of such phenomena as these solar tornadoes. North Korea is known for its secretive and isolated nature, which has led to numerous unsolved mysteries and unanswered questions over the years. While the secretive regime tightly controls information, some mysteries have managed to capture international attention. The mystery of the North Korean ghost ships. In an extensive inquiry, Japanese authorities are probing a series of mysterious vessels discovered adrift along the country's shores, each carrying individuals who had passed away on board. The investigation is focused on unraveling the mysteries surrounding these unsettling occurrences. As of now, a total of 11 wooden boats have been discovered, with some of them showing significant signs of damage. Authorities are currently conducting a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding the appearance of the boats, with a particular focus on tracing their origin. In a distressing revelation, a Coast Guard spokesperson disclosed that several boats have been discovered, containing as many as 20 individuals on board. This chilling discovery sheds light on the harrowing reality faced by individuals attempting perilous sea crossings. In recent years, multiple vessels have been discovered in the waters of the Sea of Japan, also referred to as the East Sea in North and South Korea. These findings occurred both this month and the preceding one, raising intriguing questions about the origins, and numerous vessels have been towed to ports in Japan. However, the process of identifying the individuals on board remains ongoing. The most recent boat that has been located was brought to land at Fukuoka Port, revealing the presence of 3 sets of remains on board. The Maritime Patrol Unit of the Coastal Defense Force identified the vessel approximately 100 kilometers, equivalent to 62 miles away from the shore. The Tokyo Broadcasting System made a statement indicating that the discovered remains were in an advanced state of decomposition. Japan's national broadcaster, NHK, recently disclosed that a fragment of fabric suspected to originate from a North Korean flag was discovered within a vessel. Additionally, inscriptions indicating the Korean People's Army were noted on the exterior of the same vessel. The presence of these peculiar items has sparked intrigue and speculation among experts and officials, prompting a deeper investigation into the origins and implications of such findings. Upon thorough examination, specialists probing the incident have put forth the notion that these vessels and remains might be linked to fishermen from North Korea. In the wake of multiple poor agricultural seasons, the isolated nation is actively engaged in efforts to enhance the quantity of fish caught by its fishermen. Following a series of unfavorable harvests, the nation has embarked on initiatives to boost productivity. The navigational instruments used for fishing are intricate to operate and are notably devoid of essential tools like radars. According to insights shared by a maritime specialist with NHK, these vessels might have been adrift for an extended period, possibly spanning several months, with their locations remaining unknown to anyone. In more extensive discussions, individuals have suggested that the boats might represent individuals striving to flee from the authoritarian regime of the communist state. North Korean vessels frequently appear in the coastal communities of Japan, with an average of around 12 ships from North Korea washing ashore annually along the beaches and harbors. The majority of these ships arrive empty, lacking any signs of life or containing remnants of wood fuel. On some occasions, these vessels are discovered to house crews of deceased individuals, intensifying concerns about the mysteries associated with North Korea, known for its strict military presence and secretive activities. The presence of these vessels evokes a sense of unease and raises questions about the unknown events unfolding within the borders of North Korea. These occurrences serve as a poignant reminder of the strange and potentially perilous nature of the region, leaving observers pondering the stories and fates of those who embark on these eerie journeys. The unsettling discoveries on these vessels serve as a stark testament to the complex and shadowy realm that is North Korea, prompting speculation and instilling a sense of foreboding in those who bear witness to these eerie maritime encounters. In the last year alone, a staggering 14 mysterious ghost ships have washed ashore on Japanese. These unsettling occurrences continue to baffle Japanese authorities, leaving them grappling with the perplexing question of why these vessels are drifting to their shores, as well as seeking to unravel the mysteries surrounding the unfortunate fate of those on board. The relentless arrival of these ghost ships provokes a sense of unease and curiosity among the investigators, who remain puzzled by the lack of concrete explanations for these haunting phenomena. Suggests that the individuals found on these boats are likely defectors, individuals who attempted to flee the rule of North Korea only to meet their tragic demise and be disposed of at sea. However, a noted Japanese specialist in North Korean affairs, Satoru Miyamoto, presents a contrasting viewpoint. Miyamoto posits that these deceased individuals could be fishermen potentially hailing from the commercial sector of North Korea. This perspective challenges the widely accepted belief that North Korea is a country of the regarding the origins of these mysterious boats and the fate of those on board. Miyamoto's assertion introduces a compelling alternative narrative questioning the prevalent assumption of defection-related tragedies. Miyamoto holds the belief that the fishermen in question lack any background in military or naval practices, indicating a probable scenario of them becoming disoriented at sea, leading to a tragic fate amidst the harsh marine environment. The vast expanse of the ocean is prone to severe and unpredictable weather conditions, including the menacing threat of typhoons. The potential perils faced by these individuals are harsh, spanning from starvation and hypothermia to the risk of accidental falls overboard. Kim Jong-un's disappearance in the realm of international politics. Few figures loom as large as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Since assuming power following the passing of his father, Kim Jong-il, in 2011, Kim Jong-un has commanded attention with his authoritarian rule, nuclear ambitions, and unpredictable behavior. Yet, despite his prominence on the world stage, Kim Jong-un's mysterious disappearances and the stability of his regime. The first notable instance of Kim Jong-un's disappearance occurred in 2014 when he vanished from public view for over 6 weeks, leading to rampant speculation about his health and the stability of the North Korean regime. During his absence, rumors swirled about potential health issues ranging from a bout of gout to a more serious medical condition such as a heart attack or stroke. The amount of information from North Korean state media only served to fuel speculation, leading to widespread rumors and conjecture about Kim Jong-un's whereabouts and well-being. In the absence of concrete information, analysts and observers scrutinized every available piece of evidence for clues about Kim Jong-un's health and the implications for the North Korean regime. Satellite imagery of Kim Jong-un's residence and other key locations in Pyongyang was analyzed for signs of unusual activity or increased security measures, while defectors and sources within North Korea were interrogated for any insights they could provide. Yet, despite these efforts, the true nature of Kim Jong-un's disappearance remained shrouded in mystery, leaving observers to speculate about the potential implications for North Korea's future. Kim Jong-un's disappearance from the public eye resurfaced in 2020 when he vanished once again amid rumors of failing health. When Kim Jong-un missed the celebration of his grandfather's birthday on April 15th, a significant event in the North Korean calendar that is typically marked by lavish festivities and displays of loyalty to the ruling Kim dynasty. As days turned into weeks without any sign of Kim Jong-un, speculation about his health and the stability of the North Korean regime reached a fever pitch, with rumors swirling about potential succession plans and power struggles within the ruling elite. The uncertainty surrounding Kim Jong-un's disappearance underscored the opaque and secretive nature of the North Korean regime, where information is tightly controlled and dissent is ruthlessly suppressed. In the absence of reliable information from official channels, rumors and speculation run rampant, leading to a climate of uncertainty and anxiety both within North Korea and among the international community. The reappearance of Kim Jong-un weeks later, seemingly healthy and in control, did little or the stability of his regime. While North Korean state media sought to portray him as a strong and capable leader, questions lingered about the true nature of his absence and the extent of his power within the regime. Some analysts speculated that Kim Jong-un's disappearance may have been a deliberate ploy to gauge loyalty and weed out potential rivals, while others suggested that it may have been a genuine health scare that underscored the fragility of his regime. The underground tunnels of North Korea. In the shadowy depths beneath the surface of North Korea lies a labyrinthine network of tunnels that serves as a testament to the regime's ingenuity, paranoia, and determination to safeguard its sovereignty at all costs. These underground passages, spanning hundreds of kilometers and burrowing deep into the earth, are a testament to the regime's commitment to secrecy and self-preservation, offering a glimpse into the hidden world of one of the world's most secretive and authoritarian states. The origins of North Korea's underground tunnels can be traced back to the Korean War, when the regime of Kim Il-sung embarked on an ambitious program to construct a network of secret passages beneath the demilitarized zone that separates North and South Korea. These tunnels, known as the Third Infiltration Tunnel and the Second Infiltration Tunnel, were designed to facilitate covert incursions into South Korea, serve as a means of surprise attack in the event of hostilities between the two Koreas. The Third Infiltration Tunnel, discovered by South Korean forces in 1978, is perhaps the most well-known of North Korea's underground passages. Measuring over 1.6 kilometers in length and located just 44 kilometers from Seoul, the tunnel was designed to accommodate the rapid movement of troops and equipment and enable surprise attacks on South Korean territory. Despite North Korea's claims that the tunnel was intended for coal mining, evidence suggests otherwise, with its dimensions and construction consistent with military use. The discovery of the Third Infiltration Tunnel sparked alarm and outrage in South Korea, leading to increased tensions and a heightened sense of vigilance along the DMZ. In response, South Korean forces embarked on a program of tunnel detection and countermeasures, employing advanced technology and surveillance techniques to uncover and neutralize any further incursions by North Korean forces. Despite these efforts, North Korea's underground tunneling program continued unabated, with subsequent discoveries revealing the existence of additional tunnels beneath the DMZ. The second infiltration tunnel, discovered in 1975, and the fourth infiltration tunnel, discovered in 1990, are believed to be part of a larger network of underground passages designed to facilitate covert operations surprise attacks on South Korean territory. In addition to their military significance, North Korea's underground tunnels also serve as a means of protecting the regime's leadership and preserving its ability to govern in the event of a conflict or uprising. Deep beneath the surface of Pyongyang, the capital city of North Korea, lies a sprawling complex of underground bunkers and command centers that are designed to withstand even the most devastating of military attacks. These underground facilities, known as the Underground Palace or the Metro of Pyongyang, are believed to house key government officials, military commanders, and strategic assets, ensuring the regime's survival in the event of a nuclear strike or conventional invasion. Equipped with state-of-the-art communications equipment, food and water supplies, and medical facilities, these underground bunkers are a testament to the regime's determination to maintain control and resist external threats at all costs. Despite the regime's efforts to conceal the existence of its underground tunnels and bunkers, evidence of their existence has gradually come to light through defector testimonies, satellite imagery, and the occasional discovery by South Korean forces. While the true extent of North Korea's underground network remains shrouded in secrecy, it is clear that these tunnels play a critical role in the regime's military strategy and its ability to withstand external pressure. In recent years, North Korea's underground tunnels have garnered renewed attention amid escalating tensions on the Korean peninsula and the regime's ongoing development of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. As the threat of conflict looms ever larger, the existence of these tunnels serves as a sobering reminder of the regime's willingness to resort to extreme measures to ensure its survival and maintain its grip on power. While some of these tunnels have been discovered and made public, the full extent of North Korea's tunneling activities remains a mystery. Mysterious unmanned planes spotted in North Korea. In the latest commercial satellite images analyzed by NK-Pro, a significant discovery emerged. A sizable, advanced North Korean military drone made its debut. This milestone indicates an ongoing exploration of unmanned aerial vehicle technology within the nation, aligning closely with the strategic objectives set by leader Kim Jong-un. The unveiling of this new drone serves as a testament to North Korea's continuous efforts to advance its UAV capabilities and strengthen its military arsenal. The recently unveiled aircraft seems to boast a wingspan of approximately 115 feet, equal to 35 meters, marking a significant increase in size compared to a model with a wingspan of roughly 65 feet or 20 meters that was observed on the runway of the Pangyeong Air Base by NK-Pro on June 3rd. Marked the first instance where the Democratic People's Republic of Korea has been recorded testing a contemporary drone. The most recent satellite imagery from Planet Labs reveals the presence of an aircraft sporting slender wings that bear a striking resemblance to established foreign drone models. This aircraft was spotted in close proximity to the location where a smaller aircraft was observed just last week, situated at the eastern terminus of the runway. There exists a foreign counterpart that bears a striking resemblance when viewed from above to the RQ-4A Global Hawk, an aircraft conceptualized by the United States during the late 1990s. This foreign model mirrors the dimensions of the Global Hawk in terms of wingspan. In addition to the presence of the aircraft, various vehicles were observed in the vicinity of the runway. According to an expert interviewed by NK-Pro recently, the vehicles or items spotted in similar locations on June 3rd might have been equipped with specialized tools like antennas essential for the testing of drone flights. This suggests the possibility of conducting drone flight experiments in the area. The specialized equipment carried by these vehicles could play a crucial role in facilitating and monitoring the drone testing processes. The detailed imagery provided by Planet Labs did not indicate any activities related to testing at the airbase. However, during this period, was observed ongoing activity focusing on repainting the runway stripes, suggesting maintenance and improvement work being conducted at the airbase. North Korean official media outlets have remained silent on advancements in the country's drone technology since January 2021, following Kim Jong-un's call for the production of unmanned striking equipment and reconnaissance drones capable of covering a distance of 310 miles or 500 kilometers by the conclusion of 2025. This directive from the North Korean leader emphasized the urgency of enhancing their unmanned aerial capabilities within a specific time frame to meet strategic objectives. The purpose behind the presence of the two aircraft observed at Pyongyang Air Base this month is ambiguous as to whether they are designated for combat operations or reconnaissance missions. The developmental phase of every aircraft remains undisclosed, adding a layer of mystery to the situation. It is anticipated that state media will refrain from revealing specific information or arranging an inspection by Kim Jong-un until the aircraft projects have significantly progressed. This secretive approach suggests a deliberate strategy to maintain confidentiality and keep crucial details under wraps until a later stage. The mysterious demise of Otto Warmbier. The untimely demise of Otto Warmbier on Monday, June 19th, sheds light on the intricacies of the North Korean regime. His situation stands out due to its rarity, as North Korea typically does not subject its foreign detainees to physical abuse, resulting in long-lasting harm. The details surrounding the 22-year-old student's ordeal during his roughly 18 months of confinement in North Korea, which commenced in January of the previous year, remain largely elusive. Following his repatriation to the United States mere days before his passing, medical professionals attending to Warmbier highlighted a significant loss of brain tissue that occurred during his time in North Korea. They noted from MRI scans that he likely sustained a brain injury soon after receiving a harsh 15-year sentence of hard labor in March 2016. Despite thorough examinations, there were no compelling indications of physical assault, coercion, or similar mistreatment. North Korean medical personnel attributed his condition to botulism and the consumption of a sleeping aid that rendered him unresponsive, whereas American doctors found no substantiating evidence of botulism in their assessments. During his ordeal in North Korean captivity, the circumstances surrounding Warmbier's treatment remain shrouded in mystery. However, it is sadly not uncommon for individuals to endure inhumane conditions under the North Korean regime. The extended duration of Warmbier's captivity, despite his deteriorating health, highlights a troubling disregard for basic human rights when political agendas take precedence. This situation epitomizes the harsh reality faced by individuals detained in North Korea, where humanitarian principles often take a back seat to political expediency. The lack of transparency regarding Warmbier's treatment underscores the systematic opacity and cruelty prevalent within the North Korean detention system. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the grave human rights abuses that persist within the confines of North Korean detention facilities, where individuals like Warmbier are left vulnerable to the whims of a regime. In the midst of the international jests aimed at the leader and personality cult of North Korea, it is crucial not to overlook the grim reality that the country is still deeply entrenched in the grip of a severe police state. Countless individuals face atrocities comparable to, or in some instances, surpassing the ordeal endured by Warmbier. The labor camps in North Korea stand as stark reminders of the ruthless regime where individuals find themselves incarcerated for actions that would not even be considered criminal in most Western legal systems. Instead, the North Korean government deems these acts as politically subversive, such as the mere act of introducing foreign cultural influences. It is unimaginable in any other context than that of an oppressively totalitarian regime for a young man like Warmbier to receive a 15-year sentence of grueling labor for attempting to pilfer a propaganda banner. The North Korean authorities allege that he had colluded with the church in his homeland to orchestrate the overthrow of the state system, yet they failed to provide substantial evidence to support their claims. This incident exemplifies the extreme measures and unjust practices that prevail in North Korea, shedding light on the deep-rooted repression and lack of basic freedoms endured by its populace. In trying to comprehend the North Korean response to the situation, the strategic rationale behind their actions appears perplexing. Throughout history, North Korea has exhibited a pattern of releasing detained Americans subsequent to visits by significant American dignitaries. An illustrative instance of this occurred in August 2009 when American journalists UNA regained their freedom from North Korean captivity. This liberation transpired subsequent to a visit to Pyongyang by former President Bill Clinton, who orchestrated their repatriation after their capture in March of the same year. Another noteworthy incident transpired in 2014 when the then Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, journeyed to Pyongyang with the objective of facilitating the return of imprisoned Americans Kenneth Bae and Todd Miller. During his interactions, Clapper noted the discontent of his North Korean counterparts upon realizing that his visit was not aimed at securing any diplomatic advantages for Pyongyang. This sequence of events underscores the intricate and enigmatic dynamics involved in North Korea's handling of such cases. North Korea's treatment of Otto Warmbier starkly contrasts with its usual behavior, as it seemingly served no clear purpose for the regime. Contrary to North Korea's claims of releasing him on humanitarian grounds, the prevailing belief now is that the regime's intention was merely to prevent his death within their borders. The repercussions of this incident appear to offer little benefit to North Korea, while the evident losses are substantial. The tourism sector, which Kim Jong-un aimed to develop, is likely to suffer, particularly in terms of American visitors, with approximately 1,000 of them originating from the United States. Following the imprisonment of 2 U.S. journalists in 2009, a total of 14 Americans have been detained in North Korea, leaving 3 currently incarcerated. Amid these events, Young Pioneer Tours, the agency responsible for Warmbier's trip, has already declared that they will no longer include American tourists in their future expeditions. The U.S. government may potentially impose measures to dissuade or prohibit travel to North Korea, similar to previous restrictions on visiting Cuba, which could soon be reinstated. Notably, every tourist spending money in North Korea indirectly supports the regime's operations, including its nuclear and missile programs, given that all tour operators within North Korea are affiliated with the state. While some suggest that tourism could foster cultural exchange and mutual respect, it is interesting to observe that the U.S. government expressed its intent in 1998 to facilitate group travel and exchanges with North Korea, reflecting support for policies of reconciliation with South Korea. Tourism and interactions with North Korea remain a topic shrouded in uncertainty when it comes to their beneficial outcomes. Over a significant period, discussions have occurred intermittently between representatives from North Korea and the United States, involving both current and former governmental figures in unofficial capacities. Recent dialogues have centered on critical issues such as the situation of American prisoners in North Korea, all while North Korea persists in its advancements in nuclear and missile tests, demonstrating a heightened level of technical sophistication. The advocates within the United States, supporting diplomatic discussions with North Korea, now find themselves navigating an even more challenging landscape following the tragic passing of Warmbier. The outlook for official U.S. engagement with North Korea appears increasingly grim, particularly as the current administration would be reluctant to extend any concessions to a regime whose actions resulted in the death of one of its citizens. In the intricate dynamics of the North Korean power structure, it is plausible that certain factions within the regime advocated for the release of Otto Warmbier long before his health reached a critical state, while more rigid elements resisted until his condition became irreversible. It is widely acknowledged that the North Korean healthcare system falls significantly short of meeting Western standards. However, delving into the rationale behind North Korea's decisions at that juncture remains purely conjectural. It is only through speculation that we can attempt to comprehend the underlying factors. It is conceivable that the true motives and deliberations that culminated in the tragic demise of Warmbier will only come to light if someday the archives of the North Korean secret police are unveiled. This potential revelation holds the promise of shedding light on the circumstances and decisions that ultimately led to the fateful outcome. These unsolved mysteries from North Korea reflect the isolated and secretive nature of the regime, which has made it challenging for outsiders to obtain concrete information or answers. As long as North Korea remains isolated and tightly controls information, these mysteries are likely to persist, leaving the world with many unanswered questions about the regime's actions and intentions. In the annals of UFO research, few events have sparked as much intrigue and speculation as the revelations made by military personnel about unidentified flying objects. For decades, accounts of encounters with mysterious aerial phenomena have emerged from the shadows of secrecy, often dismissed or disregarded by mainstream discourse. However, A notable shift has occurred in recent years as courageous individuals from within the military have stepped forward to share their experiences and insights, prompting a reassessment of humanity's relationship with the cosmos. Retired Army Sergeant Clifford Stone stands as a prominent figure in the realm of UFO investigation. With a distinguished service record as a combat veteran in the Vietnam War spanning over 2 decades, from 1968 to 1990, Stone was a vital member of a clandestine special operations extraterrestrial technology remains and other unearthly artifacts. Furthermore, Stone revealed startling claims that extraterrestrial beings have been visiting Earth in highly sophisticated spacecraft capable of traversing vast distances in space within incredibly short time frames, far exceeding the limits of our current understanding of technology and interstellar travel. During his initial deployment, he was stationed with the NBC team responsible for handling nuclear, biological, and chemical matters at the Fort McClellan Army Post in Alabama. Throughout his regular duties, he remained dedicated until a significant shift occurred when he was summoned for special retrieval operations. Strikingly, he was absent for a week from his usual tasks as the military called upon him for UFO retrieval missions. Intriguingly, his official military service records were tampered with, intentionally omitting any mention of his involvement in UFO recovery missions, and instead portraying him as a mere typist, concealing his crucial role in these confidential operations. Stone effectively substantiated his arguments by revealing the presence of confidential initiatives like Moondust and Bluefly. These projects were specifically designed to conceal the remnants of unidentified flying objects through the utilization of Freedom of Information Acts, thereby concealing any evidence related to such phenomena. In a detailed analysis of an Air Force intelligence correspondence referred to as the Betts Memo dating back to 1961, Sergeant Stone successfully unveiled crucial information to the broader audience. It disclosed that Project Moondust encompassed the capacity to swiftly deploy competent field intelligence personnel for the retrieval or on-site investigation of unidentified flying objects. This revelation sheds light on the military's proactive approach towards dealing with UFO and the strategic deployment of skilled personnel for efficient response to such occurrences. The insights provided by Stone's examination of the Betts Memo underscore the seriousness with which the military was addressing the phenomenon of unidentified aerial phenomena. Stone gathered authentic UFO-related documents from his time in the military through the Freedom of Information Act. These catalogs serve as concrete evidence of his involvement in UFO crash retrievals, further corroborating his claims of being part of such operations during his military tenure. Stone's meticulous research and acquisition of these classified materials not only validate his experiences, but also underscore the credibility of his accounts. By delving into the archives and unearthing these valuable records, Stone has substantially fortified the foundation of his narrative, offering compelling insights into the covert world of UFOs. Stone mentioned in past interviews that during his time in the military, was under surveillance by an unidentified individual referred to as Colonel, whose official rank remained undisclosed to him. This colonel accompanied Stone to sites of crashed UFOs and conducted debriefing sessions with him. Stone recalled being granted access by the colonel to peruse a detailed manual, 3 inches thick, that contained comprehensive data on 57 different varieties of extraterrestrial biological entities that were within the knowledge of this encounter, revealed intriguing insights into the secrecy surrounding UFO phenomena and the extent of the government's awareness of extraterrestrial life forms. The individual mentioned that numerous species bore resemblances to humans, albeit with slightly larger eyes characterized by black irises. His account elaborated that extraterrestrial beings exclusively communicated through telepathy, possessing the ability to delve into and understand thoughts and emotions. There was an incident involving Stone where he played a part in recovering a downed, unidentified flying object. Following his retirement in 1989, he discreetly concealed a tiny metallic fragment from the UFO within his shoe and proceeded to bury it in the vicinity of his estate located in the states of New Mexico and Nevada. In his account, he said the following: "I had a secret clearance with nuclear surety. I could get the clearance that I needed to do whatever it was necessary for me to do at the time on special operations when I was called in on those. What I'm referring to here is that I was involved in situations where we actually did recoveries of crashed saucers. There were bodies involved with some of these crashes, and also some were alive. While we were doing all this, we were telling the American public there was nothing to it. We were telling the world there was nothing to it. I'd like to go into detail, some of the nuts and bolts cases right here. But I will be available if you have any questions concerning my involvement in this. You can talk to Dr. Greer to arrange for me to get to talk to you. But the whole situation is we have setbacks. We've told the American people that there's no such thing as UFOs. I've been involved where we have recovered these objects. We know them to be of extraterrestrials. In 1969, I had an event that happened to me while I was stationed at Fort Lee. We went to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania, and that would be my first exposure to any time that we would be recovering an unidentified flying object. When we went there, we already had people that were in the facility with a backup team, which was supposed to be NBC because there were supposed to be some nuclear materials that were on board this craft. Later on, most people involved were told that there was nothing on board. UFO crashes are not events that take place every day. They're rare. I know we're not alone in the universe. I know that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It's evidence that has been denied to the American people. I stand before you today and my Almighty God, and I tell you this, if the Congress calls me in and says, "Will you testify in detail what you know?" I stand here today prepared and ready to do just that. Governments must never lie to the people for no reason. Thank you. Mysterious Petrozavodsk jellyfish UFO sighting. In the early hours of a September morning during the late 1970s in the Soviet Union, a period marked by the persisting tension of the Cold War, the inhabitants of a quaint Russian township were stirred from their slumber by an unusual sight. Gazing skyward, they beheld a mysterious light traversing above them. Gradually, this luminous anomaly transformed into a peculiar jellyfish-like entity, emitting mysterious beams of light towards the earth below. Astonishingly, remnants of its visitation, tangible evidence of its existence, were left behind, further mystifying the bewildered onlookers. The event unfolded against the backdrop of a geopolitical era rife with suspicion and intrigue, intensifying the intrigue and speculation surrounding this unexplainable phenomenon. The event stands out as one of the most captivating UFO sightings documented in history. Despite numerous proposed interpretations, many UFO researchers still consider this incident a mystery. The fact that it took place during the intense backdrop of the Cold War, with its end point a decade away, adds an extra layer of fascination and complexity to the scenario. This mysterious encounter continues to puzzle experts, fueling speculation and debate within the UFO research community. The circumstances surrounding this event, occurring amidst the tensions of the cold, have contributed to the enduring intrigue and strange nature of this unresolved phenomenon. In the early hours of September 20th, 1977, around 4 in the morning, as documented by Michael Heiserman's records, a peculiar and extraordinary phenomenon unfolded in Petrozavodsk. Numerous Petrozavodsk residents, particularly those preparing for their morning routines, were astounded by a truly extraordinary occurrence. As reported by the reputable newspaper Pravda, an incredibly luminescent entity resembling a gleaming jellyfish hovered prominently over the city of Petrozavodsk. The report detailed that the unidentified object moved at a leisurely pace, emitting beams of light onto the city. It further described the scene as having thousands of beams resembling a downpour of rain. As time passed, the object altered its luminosity before departing towards Onesko Lake. The comprehensive analysis in the report delved into the intricate details, providing a thorough account of the slow-moving nature of the object and the luminous effects it created on the urban landscape. In the initial moments, the residents were startled by an unusual aerial phenomenon that caught their attention. They observed a peculiar object descending in a spiraling pattern resembling a glowing ball of fire, which immediately sparked curiosity and astonishment among the onlookers. What perplexed them even more was the unexpected deceleration of the object, ruling out the possibility of it being a meteorite. Gradually, the enigmatic object came to a halt, hanging motionless in the sky directly above them, maintaining a stationary position for approximately 5 minutes. During this eerie pause, a disturbing sound emanated from the unidentified craft, described by witnesses as a chilling siren-like howl that sent shivers down their spines. As it resumed its course, gradually advancing towards the central hub of the town, leaving the bewildered spectators in awe and uncertainty. The object, as observed receding, was characterized as a reddish-orange hemisphere encircled by a luminous zone. Within this zone, Numerous twinkling points of light akin to stars were discernible, flickering and vanishing intermittently. As it distanced itself from the initial cohort of observers, it exhibited a slight pulsating accompanied by the emergence of an indistinct cone-shaped beam of light from its underside. Subsequently, a second beam became visible, both beams lingering for several moments before fading away. This intricate description captures the gradual transformation and behavior of the object, portraying a captivating spectacle that left the witnesses intrigued. Subsequently, there was a hint of heightened drama, as the unusual phenomenon in the sky caught the attention of a growing numerous slender rays of light likened to thin arrows descended from above towards the earth. Shortly after this occurrence, a sudden wave of alarm swept through the spectators, who had been observing with a mixture of curiosity and mild apprehension until that moment. The radiant beams seemed to pierce the atmosphere delicately, creating a mesmerizing yet unsettling spectacle that captivated the onlookers. The swift descent of the luminous rays added an element of mystery and awe to the already intriguing display unfolding above. In the aftermath of the startling event, numerous individuals initiated a frantic dash back indoors in a frantic search for protective refuge, driven by their assumption of an impending assault. Simultaneously, some individuals threw themselves to the ground in a swift and instinctive response. Within the local community was a rising sense of unease and commotion in the immediate aftermath of the incident, as whispers circulated among the residents suggesting that what unfolded before their eyes signaled the imminent approach of a potential American nuclear strike. As the spectators continued to observe the spectacle, their apprehension gradually gave way to curiosity, allowing them to discern more intricate details. The entity now resembled an immense jellyfish spanning approximately 300 feet in diameter, adorned with radiant golden tentacles that emitted an array of captivating hues. Additionally, they could perceive a distinct curvature in the peculiar beams of light, resembling the graceful extensions of a jellyfish or the sinuous limbs of an octopus, adding to the mysterious nature of the phenomenon. This heightened observation led them to appreciate the intricate beauty and complexity of the surreal sight before them. Unraveling its authored by journalist Nikolai Mylov, it is intriguing to note that numerous individuals appeared noticeably unwell in the immediate aftermath of the incident, with this unwell appearance persisting for hours thereafter. Several eyewitnesses, in conversations with Mylov, asserted that they sensed a peculiar sensation akin to an electric current coursing through their bodies when the arrow-shaped lights materialized. This phenomenon captivated the attention of many observers, prompting them to share their experiences and observations. Extending beyond just physical distress, the impact of the event seemed to linger, leaving a lasting impression on those present. In a peculiar turn of events, the areas where these mysterious lights made contact with the ground and occasionally window ledges exhibited uneven cavities. Furthermore, a few observers vividly remembered the unidentified object descending to an even lower altitude. The object came to rest, now positioned a brief stroll from the harbor. As it drew nearer, its luminosity intensified, reaching a level of brilliance that forced numerous observers to partially cover their eyes to behold it clearly. This phenomenon prompted a sense of awe and intrigue among the witnesses, captivating their attention with its radiant glow. The proximity of the object revealed intricate details that were previously obscured, casting a captivating spectacle that demanded respect and admiration. Suddenly, the situation took an even more peculiar twist. Multiple inhabitants in the area observed a spherical object separating from the primary spacecraft and gliding above the rooftops of the nearby residences and structures, resembling a reconnaissance undertaking. This activity persisted for a considerable duration before the object retreated back to the main craft. Some individuals who witnessed the incident reported that it vanished into an aperture located on the underside, potentially hinting at the possibility of it being a remotely operated aerial vehicle. The scenario involved the detachment and subsequent reattachment of a bulb-shaped entity to a larger vessel, leading speculators to consider the potential use of advanced technology or unmanned aerial devices in the observed event, adding a mysterious element to the sighting. Based on the accounts provided by Yuri Grimov, who serves as the director of the meteorological station in Petrozavodsk, the mysterious object gradually transformed into the shape of an elliptical ring before resuming its movement. It proceeded towards a cluster of clouds situated in the proximity of UNESCO Lake. While entering the clouds, it left in its wake a peculiar red void, almost as though the clouds had been scorched, and this anomaly lingered visibly for a few minutes. This occurrence was described in detail by the aforementioned expert, shedding light on the unusual behavior of the object as it traversed through the atmospheric conditions. Gromoff's observations offer a unique perspective on this phenomenon, indicating a distinct series of events that unfolded during the object's passage through the sky. Upon further scrutiny, subsequent inquiries would reveal the absence of any documented presence of aircraft traversing the airspace above the town on the specified evening. Gromoff categorically refuted the possibility of it being attributed to ball lightning or any other meteorological anomaly. This thorough examination indicated a complete lack of aerial activity during the said period, leading to the exclusion of potential natural atmospheric occurrences as explanations for the observed events. Gromoff elaborated on the phenomenon by suggesting that the unidentified object could potentially complete with both crew and passengers, or a manifestation of energy originating from a UFO. Consequently, Gromoff seemed to imply that the event witnessed by hundreds, if not thousands of individuals on that autumn evening, defied any conventional natural explanation. In essence, he contended that the incident was beyond the realms of typical earthly occurrences, prompting speculation about extraterrestrial or otherworldly origins. In the aftermath of the incidents in Petrozavodsk, the news agency was inundated with more than 1,500 letters from the public expressing their concerns. A predominant sentiment among the correspondents was deep apprehension regarding the event and the potential for its recurrence, raising significant doubts about the safety of the local residents. Moreover, some individuals pondered the possibility of heightened radiation levels in the region following the occurrence. The sheer volume of correspondence received underscored the widespread unease and fear prevalent among the populace regarding the implications and aftermath of the Petrozavodsk events. Upon conducting retrospective inquiries, it becomes evident that a significant number of these issues were not officially documented or reported. Despite the existence of correspondence in the archives pertaining to these matters, it has come to light that authorities within the government imposed restrictions on the news agency, preventing any additional coverage on the subject. In fact, explicit instructions were given to ensure that there would be a complete absence of any further discussion regarding the peculiar occurrences of that fateful night. This suggests a deliberate effort to suppress information and maintain secrecy surrounding the events that transpired. Behind the veil of secrecy, a group of scientists was tasked with conducting a covert inquiry into the event away from public scrutiny. As time progressed, the details of this investigation gradually surfaced to the general public, particularly gaining momentum following the collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 1990s. This leaked information shed light on the incident that had initially been shrouded in confidentiality, marking a significant shift in transparency and awareness surrounding the event. During the time of the incident, a well-informed publisher named Vasyl Zakharchenko, who was known for his extensive government connections, sheds light on intriguing details. According to his account, the holes observed in the ground and windowsills were approximately the size of a typical coin. What piqued curiosity even further was the observation that the holes in the windowsill had caused the nearby glass to melt, a phenomenon both unusual and captivating. In a particular factory, one window exhibited such an unusual distortion that authorities intervened by removing it for a thorough examination and analysis, underscoring the mysterious and potentially significant nature of the event. In a lecture delivered by Dr. Ajaja towards the end of 1981, observations were made regarding not only the glass beginning to exhibit signs of melting in several locations within various properties, but also a notable distortion noticed in the window structures themselves. Researchers identified a peculiar occurrence of a crystalline structure on the surface of the non-crystalline glass, a phenomenon that defied conventional scientific understanding. Upon analyzing the data from this investigation, some experts concluded that the most logical conclusion was that the entities being studied were displaying signs of being active. The implications of these findings challenged existing scientific beliefs and sparked further inquiries into the underlying nature of these unusual occurrences. Despite the lack of definitive answers, the Petrozavodsk incident remains a compelling case study in the study of unidentified aerial phenomena. Its enduring mystery continues to captivate the imaginations of researchers and enthusiasts alike, prompting ongoing efforts to unravel the truth behind the mysterious jellyfish UFO sighting. Whether the object observed over Petrozavodsk was a product of human ingenuity, natural, its impact on our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it cannot be understated. As we continue to probe the depths of the unknown, the Petrozavodsk incident serves as a reminder of the enduring mystery and wonder of the UFO phenomena. Antarctica stands out as a vastly uncharted region, inhabited by only a handful of individuals. However, amidst its desolate landscapes, numerous captivating revelations have come to light in recent times. The latest findings circulating on social media encompass perplexing discoveries that defy easy explanation. Enthusiastic amateur investigators claim that numerous locations across Antarctica are undergoing a process of gradual melting, uncovering peculiar structures hidden beneath the ice. While it is emphasized by scientific experts that Antarctica holds no extraordinary secrets, and the majority of these revelations can be rationalized through natural occurrences, this has not deterred some individuals from dedicating extensive hours, scrutinizing archival images of Antarctica, and utilizing tools like Google Earth to identify mysterious, seemingly out-of-place formations. And intrigue within the online community, prompting widespread discussions and speculations about the possible origins and implications of these unearthed anomalies. The unfolding narrative surrounding these mysterious findings serves as a testament to the enduring fascination with the mysterious and unexplored regions of our planet, inviting further exploration and analysis to unravel the secrets hidden beneath the icy surface of Antarctica. While scouring the virtual landscape, an intrepid individual noticed something anomalous, a structure emerging from the ice, reminiscent of a bygone era. What began as a casual browsing session soon transformed into a journey of exploration and revelation as the mysterious object revealed itself to the individual, and many who saw the structure suggested that it could be an abandoned base that once belonged to the Germans. The story begins with an ordinary individual, armed with nothing more than a computer, and an insatiable curiosity, navigating the virtual terrain of Google Earth in search of hidden treasures. As they panned and zoomed across the desolate expanses of Antarctica, their attention was drawn to a peculiar structure protruding from the ice, an angular, man-made edifice stark against the pristine whiteness of the surrounding landscape. Intrigued by this unexpected find, they delved deeper, scouring satellite imagery for clues to its origin and purpose. What they uncovered was nothing short of astonishing, a forgotten relic of a bygone era preserved in the icy depths of Antarctica. The individual said that upon closer examination, it revealed the telltale signs of human habitation, ruins of buildings, and remnants of what appeared to be old structures scattered across the frozen landscape. The discovery sent ripples of excitement through the world of history and archaeology, as amateur enthusiasts clamored to unravel the mysteries of this forgotten outpost. The implications of the discovery are profound, raising questions about the extent of German influence in Antarctica and the potential ramifications for our understanding of the region's history. This revelation sparked a flurry of reactions among viewers of the accompanying photographs. While some identified the object as one massive base, others theorized it resembled the remnants of an ancient city. Speculation arose that this unearthing could potentially serve as evidence of early human engaged in the construction of imposing edifices. One individual pondered that if presented with the image devoid of any context, observers might liken it to a structure akin to a building or the wreckage of a seafaring vessel. Oftentimes, when claims are made regarding such discoveries in Antarctica, individuals tend to dismiss them automatically. The essence of science lies in continuous learning and the correction of our understanding of the Earth's history. Germany's aspirations transcended the confines of European battlegrounds, encompassing broader ambitions and strategies that reached beyond the continent's borders. In an effort to gain strategic leverage and assert supremacy in the aftermath of the war, German scientists and military officials contemplated a bold plan to set up strongholds in Antarctica. This ambitious proposal aimed to solidify their position on the global stage and expand their influence beyond conventional territories. Germany's fascination with Antarctica is fueled by a compelling combination of strategic, scientific, and ideological motivations. Strategically, the country sees Antarctica as a pivotal location with significant implications for its global interests. The immense and frozen landscape of the Antarctic continent harbored vast, untapped resources and strategic military advantages, presenting an alluring opportunity for a government keen on extending its territorial control and military dominance. The uninhabited icy terrain of Antarctica offered lucrative prospects for exploration and exploitation, which could significantly contribute to the economic and military strength of a nation with expansionist ambitions. Antarctica's extreme remoteness not only held a strong appeal due to its secretive and isolated nature, but also provided a secure sanctuary for covert activities to be carried out discreetly, shielded from the scrutiny of Allied intelligence agencies. In the period preceding World War II, Germany's fascination with Antarctica experienced a gradual surge, driven by a series of exploratory missions and dedicated scientific investigations. The German Antarctic expedition, under the leadership of Captain Alfred Richer in the span of 1938 to 1939, remains a prominent exploration venture in history, particularly notable for its extensive mapping of vast Antarctic coastal regions and the subsequent territorial claims made on behalf of Germany. This expedition, renowned for its significance, not only contributed to the scientific understanding of the region, but also fueled the aspirations and ambitions of Germany during that era, bolstered by the expedition's discoveries and insights into the abundant natural resources and potential strategic advantages present in the Antarctic. The Antarctic expedition conducted by the Germans aboard the vessel Schwabenland, which took place from December 17, 1938 to April 12, 1939, stands as a relatively obscure voyage in Antarctic exploration history. This expedition, occurring just before the onset of World War II, ventured into the western region recognized today as Droning Moordland. The Germans embarked on this voyage during a significant period in history, traversing the icy expanses of the Antarctic continent. The exploration was initiated due to apprehensions within the German governmental circles regarding the sustainability and viability of the German whaling sector. In the region of Droning Moordland, where the Norwegian whaling fleets first explored, a significant discovery was made. While the land had not yet been formally acknowledged with its current name, unofficial claims on its behalf had already been put forward by Norway, even though there was no official royal proclamation confirming these assertions. In light of the British imposition of heavy fees and restrictions on whaling operations in the South Atlantic, the German government was eager to avoid a similar predicament. Consequently, a covert mission was strategized with the intent of staking a territorial claim in Antarctica on behalf of Germany. The primary goal was to identify a suitable site for establishing a German whaling fleet base. Received approval from Hermann Göring as part of the German four-year plan aimed at fostering economic growth. The expedition had both public and undisclosed goals. Publicly, it aimed to extend the scientific research initiated by Erich von Drygalski and Wilhelm Filchner in the early 20th century near 90 degrees east and in the Weddell Sea respectively. However, alongside these scientific pursuits, the expedition harbored covert military objectives. Upon its homeward voyage, it intended to assess the viability of the remote Brazilian isles of Ilha Trinidad and Ilhas Martin Vaz, situated approximately 1,000 kilometers east of Vitoria in Brazil as potential landing sites for the German Navy, particularly for U-boats. This assessment aimed to evaluate the strategic advantages these islands could offer for naval operations, emphasizing the importance of geographical considerations in military planning. Antarctica may appear to be little more than an inhospitable wasteland of ice and snow, a vast, desolate expanse devoid of life and civilization. Yet, upon closer inspection, the continent reveals itself to be a place of profound geological, ecological, and climatological significance, a crucible of scientific inquiry and discovery unlike any other on Earth. From the towering peaks of the Transantarctic Mountains to the otherworldly landscapes of Antarctica is a land of contrasts and contradictions, where the forces of nature reign supreme and the boundaries of human understanding are continually tested. One of the most enduring mysteries of Antarctica lies in its geological history, a tale written in the rocks and ice that blanket the continent's surface. Over millions of years, Antarctica has undergone dramatic transformations from a lush, temperate paradise to the frozen wilderness we see today. Evidence of its ancient past lies hidden beneath the ice, waiting to be unearthed by intrepid scientists and explorers. Another mystery that has confounded researchers for decades is the presence of anomalous magnetic anomalies known as Antarctic anomalies. Perhaps the most tantalizing mystery of Antarctica lies in its potential to unlock secrets about the origins of life on Earth and the possibility of mysterious life elsewhere in the universe. Characterized by sub-zero temperatures, high winds, and near total darkness, bears a striking resemblance to the conditions found on other planets and moons in our solar system. As such, Antarctica serves as a natural laboratory for astrobiological research, offering insights into the limits of life's adaptability and the potential for habitability beyond Earth. Vanished without a trace. It's a phrase tacked onto almost any missing person's case. It could happen to any of us as we walk out the door, head off to the doctor, or even as we do the things we enjoy. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at these three mysterious disappearances. Ireland's vanishing triangle. On the March 26, 1993, 26-year-old Anne McCarrick was the first woman to go missing in what's been come to known as Ireland's vanishing triangle. Over the next 5 years, 7 more women would go missing within the 80-mile radius around Dublin. On the day she disappeared, and set about her day running errands around the Dublin area. CCTV captured Anne at a bank in Sandymount. She later stopped at a local grocery store before returning home at 3 p.m. The last confirmed sighting of Anne was on a bus headed for Ranelagh, located on the south side of Dublin. This was at around 3:40 p.m. Witnesses claimed to have seen Anne enter a pub called Johnny Fox's, located in the town of Glencurran, around 9 p.m. that evening. These witnesses say a man paid the cover charge for and before continuing to pay for her drinks for the remainder of the night. However, no one saw Anne nor the man leave. Some believe Anne may have tried to walk to nearby Erskinberry, but she was never seen again and the male was never identified. Only 3 months later, on July 5, 1993, 39-year-old Eva Brennan was last seen leaving her parents' house in Rathgar. After not hearing from Eva in 2 days, her father went to her apartment to check on her. After breaking a window to get into the locked apartment, it was found to be empty. However, the jacket that she had worn at her parents' place just days prior was found there. This suggests that, at the very least, Eva had made it home that day. Eva's family long criticized the local authorities' responses to their missing daughter, claiming no one took action in looking for her for over 3 months. On the January 3, 1994, 22-year-old Imelda Keenan left the apartment she shared with her boyfriend for the post office. She was last seen crossing a road near a local doctor's office near Lombard Street, never to be seen again. Jojo Dollard, age 21, was the next to vanish. Jojo was last seen attempting to hitchhike from Dublin to Kilkenny on November 9, 1995. A friend later claimed that she had received call from her from a payphone but had ended the call abruptly to catch a ride. 25-year-old Fiona Pender was last seen leaving her apartment on April 3, 1996. A small cross bearing her name was found near the Sleep Bloom Mountains, leaving investigators to believe that she had been murdered and buried there. At the time of her death, she was 7 months pregnant. Fiona Senner, age 19, was last seen leaving a pub with her boyfriend. On the morning of February 8, 1998, he claimed she had left for a doctor's appointment, of which she didn't return from. The same year, on July 28, 18-year-old Deirdre Jacob disappeared only yards from her family's home. Witnesses driving by confirmed seeing Deirdre nearing her driveway, but she never made it home. It's widely believed that the disappearances were linked to a serial killer. Irish police believed that Larry Murphy was responsible for the deaths of at least Anne, Jojo, and Deirdre, having been active in their area at that time. He claims that he had nothing to do with any of them. As of right now, the disappearances remain unsolved. Ben McDaniel. North of Ponce de Leon, Florida, is a commercially owned dive shop known as Vortex Springs. Vortex Springs claims itself to be the largest commercial diving spot in the state of Florida. It hosts diving lessons for all levels, glimpses of the underwater wildlife, and perhaps the most popular attraction, an underwater cavern. 300 feet into this cavern is a locked gate. The key is reserved only for divers with a cave diving certification. The policy was put in place after 13 divers had perished in the cave. The cave is especially dangerous. Only 1,600 feet past the gate has been mapped, and there are passageways of less than 10 inches inside. For some people, such as Ben McDaniel, it was the biggest draw to the area. McDaniel, who had been staying at his parents' nearby beach house following a divorce and some financial troubles, became a regular of Vortex Springs. An employee stated that although McDaniel had the proper equipment and knowledge, he seemed overconfident. That impression of McDaniel was shared by others around the dive shop who had now come to know him. His parents called him fearless. On August 20th, 2000, employees at Vortex Springs noticed McDaniel's truck had not left the parking lot for 2 days. After some initial investigation, it was discovered that 2 employees returning from a dive themselves had seen McDaniel 2 days prior. Judging by the equipment McDaniel had, it was assumed he was headed for the cave. It had been suspected for some time that McDaniel had been prying the gate open, so an employee followed him down to unlock it for him before returning to the surface and cell. That was the last known time McDaniel was seen. None of McDaniel's dive gear was found in his truck, indicating he didn't return from the cave. Investigators did discover his wallet, $700 in cash, and a dive log. The log included a map McDaniel had been making of the cave below. Divers came from all around in attempts to help locate McDaniel, who they believed had died in the cave. The only piece of evidence they found was his dive tanks near the entrance of the cave. Divers noted that it was an odd place to leave them if he had planned to go deeper into the cave. Veteran cave diver Ed Sorensen arrived to help. With his knowledge and expertise, he ventured 200 feet further than McDaniel had mapped on his logs. He noted that the last place he looked was too pristine for a diver to ever have been in it. 16 divers spent 36 days looking for McDaniel. After a thorough search, they began to wonder if he was even there at all. Theories included McDaniel staging his disappearance to escape his past troubles. Although his parents were offering a substantial reward of $30,000 for the recovery of their son's body, it never turned up. They were forced to take back the offer when another diver died in the cave despite there being no evidence that he was there looking for McDaniel. Sorensen believed the reward was putting the lives of divers at danger, calling them to dive deeper into the cave. A private investigator hired by his parents went on to say that it's just as likely for McDaniel to be found out of the water as it is for him to be in it. World record-holding diver Jill Heiner believed there was no reason he wasn't in that cave. This continues to perpetuate that McDaniel may never be found. Mayumi Erasure. We might never fully know the story of what happened to Mayumi. All we have to go on are the words of her sister Yoko. On the September 2nd, 1994, 27-year-old Mayumi left the house and her 1-year-old daughter telling Yoko she was going to visit a friend. When Mayumi didn't return, Yoko claims to have phoned that friend. Mayumi's friend informed Yoko that they didn't have plans to meet that previous day. Yoko later said she found a note from Mayumi confessing to have been secretly seeing a man. The note read, "I was going out with a but was betrayed. I'm sorry," as well as his phone number. When Yoko called the number, she claims that he confirmed Mayumi was with him that previous day. Both a private investigator and the local police turn up no evidence tying this man to Mayumi's disappearance. In 2011, years after Mayumi's disappearance, Yoko and their father appeared on television. Yoko spoke first, telling a story filled with tears and what she said happened. The father, whose interview took place at a different location, is what makes this case especially odd. On the wall behind him, there was a note that went completely unnoticed by those interviewing him. The note read, "Don't believe what Yoko says." With no evidence of her ever turning up, Mayumi's disappearance remains a mystery. So what do you make of these mysterious disappearances? A lost gold mine, a missing prime minister, and dark and sinister woods. Most people easily write off stories like these as coincidence or stories to be told around a campfire. Others would argue, however, that there's more to them than that. Inside every tale, there is a bit of truth. It just may not be so easily uncovered. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at these 3 unsolved mysteries that can't be explained. The missing Prime Minister. On December 17, 1967, Prime Minister of Australia Harold Holt disappeared into the waters near Portsea, Victoria. Widely believed to be merely a swimming accident, various theories began to pile up. This is most likely because Halt's body was never recovered from the waters. Halt became Prime Minister in January 1966. Holt initially denied having security, deeming it unnecessary and making him seem impersonal to the public. This changed later, after a window of his office was sniped out and a later assassination attempt was made on the leader of the opposition. He finally agreed to one bodyguard, but never took one on any vacations. Speaking of vacations, Holt was an avid outdoorsman. He had a fondness for spearfishing and would fish year-round. He also snorkeled, preferring the freedom versus the cumbersome weight of a tank. He is described as having incredible powers of endurance underwater. That being the case, however, Halt still had two near misses in the water, one which he blamed on a leaking snorkel, and one he blamed on chasing a fish while spearfishing. The morning of his disappearance began normally. Holt awoke early in his vacation house in Port Sea, called his wife, and stopped at a general store. The items he purchased did not seem out of character: insect repellent, peanuts, and some newspapers. Holt spent the morning with friends, with a notable stop in Port Phillip Bay to catch a glimpse of a solo circumnavigator coming through. On the way home, in typical Holt fashion, he suggested they all stop for a swim at Cheviot Beach. His reasonings were the hot day and wanting to work up an appetite for the barbecue lunch they had planned to enjoy. Halt was familiar with the area, having spent lots of time swimming and fishing in the area. He had even once retrieved a porthole from a shipwreck in the area. Halt was the only one to venture deep into the water. Others deemed it unsafe due to a visible swell and undertow. Halt swam deeper out into the ocean despite the calls from his friends, and without a wave or call for help, Holt simply slipped beneath the water. The search for Holt's body went on until January 5, 1968. A formal investigation deemed it an accidental drowning, stating Halt took a risk that day and paid the price for it. They found no evidence to prove otherwise. They went on further to explain that if sea creatures had gotten a hold of his body, he would have been reduced to bones within days. This would explain the lack of body being found. It all sounds so cut and dry, but soon enough, theories began to surface. Some theories claim he ended his life, fearing his political career was ending. The police report specifically ruled out this theory. However, as Halt carried on his ordinary routines, his wife went on to say that she believed him too selfish to commit suicide. Other more crazy ideas involve a Chinese submarine rescuing their lifelong spy and being killed by a Vietnamese nerve agent, all of which have been marked as nonsense from Holt's family. In Australia, Holt's death is often the subject of dark humor. It has impacted their slang. Instead of bolting, one would do a Harold Holt. His death has even inspired a storyline on an Australian soap opera. Whatever locals believe, it is obvious Holt's disappearance has impacted the lives of those he served. The Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine, the Superstition Mountains, the name just makes you want to go and explore it even before you know what's said to be hidden in the hills. Located east of Phoenix, Arizona, there are tales of a gold mine, the Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine. People have been scouring the mountains looking for this treasure since at least 1890. At one point, it is said that over 8,000 people were looking for the mine annually. So who was the Lost Dutchman? Well, as most stories, time and tale have twisted the history into a woven mix of fact and fiction. In fact, in 1977, there had been 62 versions of the story already in circulation. Most of them go something like this. German immigrant Jacob Waltz settled in Arizona during the gold rush. Around that same time, there was a wealthy Mexican family in the same area known as the Peraltas. The Peraltas were cattle ranchers who had also discovered gold along the Superstition Mountains. While returning gold to Mexico, the Peraltas were ambushed and most of them were killed by Apaches. Some stories say the Apaches took the gold back and hid it, later to be discovered by Volz. Others say Volz lent a helping hand to one of the remaining Peraltas, who rewarded him by telling him where to find the gold. Either way you slice it, the gold was real. Upon his death in 1891, bars of gold were found beneath Volz's bed. In 1949, Peralta stones were found in the mountains, lending credibility to the tales. While hiking in the Superstitions, a hiker tripped over an exposed corner of the stone. This led him to dig up 4 different smooth carved stones. There were many markings. One stone read, "I pasture north of the river." Others depicted figures such as a priest with a cross. Mentions of dangerous canyon walks and 18 marked places to get to the heart are on others. On 2 of the stones, maps are leading to a heart. The temperature at night drops rapidly, often causing hikers to have hypothermia. Others believe there isn't a mine to be found at all. Instead, a great cache of stolen goods and gold hid away by Voles himself. Whether it is a hidden cache or a pure gold vein, it has kept people searching. Although a law was passed in 1984 prohibiting the mining and digging in the area, treasure hunters still flocked the area, hoping for a bit of that gold rush excitement. The Clapham Wood Mystery. Clapham Wood is a wooded area located in West Sussex, England. The woods are not far from the small town of Clapham. Clapham is one of those towns you tell stories about. The small village that seems to have always been there was always the focus point of various stories. Being slightly shrouded from the public, there was always an air of mystery about it. Soon enough, people from the area began reporting strange goings-on there. Since the 1960s, UFOs have been prevalent in the skies above the woods and Clapham itself. There have been hundreds of sightings reported. Along with the sightings, people have complained of nausea and the feeling of being followed. There have also been reports of a strange gray mist hovering over the ground. People have been saying they've been pushed along pathways for years. Studies of the area show a slightly elevated level of radiation. However, the numbers are varied and are difficult to track. UFOs aside, Clapham Woods are a mystery for another reason. A strange string of events started in April of 1972. It was then when the body of a young woman was found in Clapham Woods. Police Constable Peter Goldsmith was assigned to the case. By June, Goldsmith himself had disappeared into the woods. It wasn't until 6 months later his body was found less than half a mile from where the girl was originally found. His cause of death was never identified. In 1975, residents began falling ill, and maybe even stranger, their pets started to go missing. On 2 occasions, only a week apart, 2 different men's dogs ran off into the woods and were never seen again. A third dog was found after he had run off into the woods, but was paralyzed. No cause was ever found, and the dog was eventually put down. In July of 1975, Leon Foster disappeared only to be found later in the woods. He was found by a couple searching for their horse, who had also gone missing. On Halloween 1978, a retired reverend disappeared, and in 1981, a homeless woman was found in the forest. Paranormal investigator known as Charles Walker began asking questions. He claims to have received an anonymous phone call from a well-spoken man. This man offered to meet Walker at the crossroads deep in the Clapham Woods. Walker obliged and went to meet his anonymous caller. When he arrived, however, there was no one there. A voice called from the nearby brush. However, he did not wish to be identified, claiming it would be bad for both of them. He identified himself as a cult initiate of the Friends of Hecate, a satanic cult. The cult had been using the woods for their meetings, which often included sacrifices, which could explain away the missing animals. The initiate, however, did not mention any of the people who had wound up dead in the woods. The man did issue a warning. There are people in high places involved, holding positions of power and authority, who will tolerate no interference. We will stop at nothing to ensure the safety of our cult. Many believed the Friends of Hecate inhabited the woods until 1987, when the woods were damaged by a storm. UFOs, satanic cults, strange mists, whatever the cause, Clapham Woods is definitely a wood shrouded in mystery. But what do you make of these mysteries? The world is full of strange tales. The phrase urban legend first appeared around 1968. Many urban legends have a complete plot composed of real characters, perhaps to make them more believable. Oftentimes, these stories are told as cautionary tales. Over the years, it's caused many to tell their own versions of these events. Urban legends aren't just things of the past, however. They continue to be told to this day. In fact, the internet has made it easier to both spread and disprove these tales, even spawning entire websites dedicated to them. Although some of them are known to be fake, Others believe that some are based on real events and experiences. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we take a look at these three mysterious legends. La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. Along the banks of the river, under the dark canopy of trees, there wanders a woman in white. She cries out to her children, and some say if you bear witness to the wails, you're surely marked for death. Her name is Maria. Maria came from a small rural town in Mexico, and although her family was poor, her beauty drew men from all over. This included a wealthy rancher, who when traveling through Maria's town immediately spotted her and knew he must have her. The man easily won her over, showering her with gifts and attention that she had never had. At first, the marriage seemed strong. Maria and the rancher seemed happy and went on to have 2 sons. It wasn't long after this, however, that things in her marriage started to change. The rancher continued to travel. Some say he enjoyed a life of alcohol and beautiful women. Others say he went back to his ranch. There were times where he would leave Maria and their boys for months at a time. And when he did return, his attention was only for his sons. Resentment began to well up inside Maria, both for her marriage and her sons. One night, as Maria and her sons walked along the path near the river, it said she spotted her husband in a carriage with a younger, wealthier woman. He stopped the carriage to have a few words with the boys, ignoring Maria completely before continuing down the road. And it was then Maria finally broke. In a blind rage, she grabbed her 2 boys and threw them into the river. When she had came to her senses and realized what she had done, it was far too late. She searched for them, but to no avail. They had already been carried downstream. She ran along the banks of the river, crying out for her boys. Knowing all was lost as her boys were gone and there was no reason for her husband to return now, Maria drowned herself in the river. The people of Maria's village found her the next morning and buried her in a long white funeral gown. On that very night, La Llorona's sorrowful wails began. Down by the river, people began to see a woman in a long white dress calling out, "Where are my children?" People believe that she was denied entrance to heaven without her boys, and now she's destined to walk the riverbanks in search of them forever. As this legend continued through the years, La Llorona changed from a grieving woman to one who kidnaps children who resembled her own or children who disobeyed their parents. The tale, as it continues in the Latin community, is still told to many children to not go out after dark. For if they do, La Llorona may snatch them up and throw them into the river. The Devil's Toy Box started out like any other Halloween. Farmer Graves' haunted orchard was up and running, drawing in crowds as it had for years before. However, this year Farmer Grave wanted something new, something exciting to draw in even more people. This is when he came up with the idea of the Devil's Toy Box. The Devil's Toy Box, in fact, wasn't a box at all. Instead, it was a creepy old shack. The shack had no windows, and once you stepped inside the tiny shack, you saw nothing but mirrors. There were mirrors on every surface from floor to ceiling. Outside of the shack was a timer. It became a test to see who could stand in the shack staring at themselves in the endless mirrors. It drew crowds in attempting to stay in the box just a bit longer than the last person. However, it said that Farmer Graves didn't stay open a week after the shack had opened. There are many stories of people becoming hospitalized after exiting the shack, and it said that no one could last more than 5 minutes. The longest time that anyone ever stayed inside the Devil's Toy Box was 4 minutes and 37 seconds. 52-year-old Father Roger helps exited the shack and hasn't said a word since, being reduced to a wide-eyed mute. Other victims of the shack include a woman who suffered a heart attack after only a minute and a half inside. A teen boy who had to be dragged from the shack kicking and screaming is said to have took his life 2 weeks later. Legend has it that if you stood in the room full of mirrors, the devil would show up and steal your soul. So is the Devil's Toy Box real? It turns out that writer Joel Farrelly has admitted to making the story up, although it doesn't stop people from telling the tale of the room covered in mirrors. People still wonder about its whereabouts, only hearing such vague details such as 3 hours from New Orleans or a long dirt road. Aduenda encounters. The Irish have leprechauns and Scandinavians have their trolls. Latin America has Alduendo. Standing less than 2 feet tall, Alduendo can still stir up mischief. They're described as being covered in hair, including long bushy beards for the men. Some describe a wide-brimmed hat. In Latin American folklore, these mysterious creatures can hail from the forest or live within the walls of your home. They're mostly seen by children as they tend to be mischievous and childlike themselves. They're blamed for quite a bit of the strange doings around one's home. For example, your missing keys or that important paper that you just couldn't find. This has caused some to suggest that it's these creatures playing tricks on you. In most stories, they seem fairly harmless. Some even suggest offering up your first bite to any meal to them, as to keep them on your good side. They're said to lend a helping hand around the house. Other locals have reported that if you get lost in the woods, you can call out to these creatures and they'll help you. This seemed to remain true as long as you weren't causing harm. When boys go out to play in the woods, they're warned of the Watcher of the Woods. Little boys were told to not make too much mischief in the woods and not to kill any animals for sport. El Duende was always watching, and if he spotted you doing anything wrong, he would appear to you and take you to his cave deep inside the woods. The only way to escape was to fool him into thinking you were one of his kind. El Duende only had 4 fingers, so if you could hide your thumb and convince him so, he would let you go. Another tale tells of the sleeping El Duende. Settling in for a nap, the creature would rest against a tree, slowly disguising themselves as the clay around them. Children would find small clay statues of the little gnomes throughout the woods and bring them home. During the night, they would sneak off back to the woods. When the children awoke and found the figurine missing, they knew for sure they had plucked one of the small gnomes. Interestingly, although these sound like childish tales, many have come forward with alleged proof of the creature's existence. There have been many sightings, pictures, and videos that point to the creature being genuine. Many people, whether they believe in folk tales or not, believe in their existence. Some put them in the same category as Bigfoot or the Chupacabra. Others believe it to just be a cautionary tale to boys heading into the woods. Whether it is a tale to keep children out of trouble or simply a tale meant to elicit fear, urban legends will continue to be told as long as stories exist. It may be because they're just fun. Some believe, however, it gives us a very keen insight into our deepest fears as humans. Perhaps it's that keeps us coming back for more. Others suggest that the majority of these stories are based on real events, and that over time, they've just been reimagined and retold. So what do you make of these interesting urban legends? And do you think any of them are true?